Hey guys, what's going on? Crow of Murder 15 here, and welcome to the first episode of First Impressions, a show where I take a look at a game that I recently purchased and played about anywhere between 15 minutes to 2 hours of the game, depending on what it is, and giving my thoughts on the first impressions I received from it. Today's episode is Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild for the Wii U. Now, before I purchased this game, I was kind of iffy because I didn't know how good the Wii U version was compared to the Switch, and I only have a Wii U right now, so I went online and asked my friends if there were any major differences, and they said the only differences were really just a couple of graphical changes and colors, and the frame rate might be a little bit lower on the Wii U, but other than that, it's pretty much the same game. So I'm glad that I was able to purchase it and check it out, because seeing the gameplay trailer for this game, I was really excited for it. It looked very different from any Legend of Zelda game that I've ever played, and I've already spent quite a few hours playing this game. At the time of recording this, I've probably already spent about anywhere between 10 to 15 hours maybe already playing this, and I've barely scratched the surface on this game, so there's a lot to do in this game. Just as an overall right now, I'm loving it. It's probably one of the best Legend of Zelda games I've played so far, and that's saying something. That's coming from somebody that's played almost every Legend of Zelda game to date, excluding Skyward Sword and Spirit Tracks, and maybe a couple odds and ends there. Before I get into my full analysis of my first impressions, I want to state that there might be a couple of spoilers here and there, so this is your warning now. So, going over the story of, or what I've learned at least so far, it's very similar to a lot of Legend of Zelda games as far as Ganon taking over Hyrule, but this is the first game I feel like he's really done it. This has been over 100 years and Ganon is still reigning supreme. Link is in a deep sleep and has awakened after 100 years. So I know past Legend of Zelda games have done this before, such as Ocarina of Time, where you sleep for 7 years and wake up and Ganon's taken over, but this is 100 years. I mean, he's been reigning that long. So it's the first time I feel like the world's really gone to shit. And the fact that Link wakes up and has no clue what's going on, he has to regain his memories along the way, I think is a very nice touch. I know amnesia is one of those things that's kind of touchy when it comes to video games, but if done correctly, I like it, and I feel like this game has done it correctly. The overall graphics for this game, it has a nice mixture, I feel like, from Skyward Sword. Even though I've never played Skyward Sword, I have seen videos of it. It's got a nice mixture of Skyward Sword and Twilight Princess, I feel. And it very well adapts to the setting of the game, which, in all honesty, I feel is kind of post-apocalyptic. I mean, going back to the story, you know, Ganon's been taken over for 100 years, and there's only a couple of tiny villages and settlements that are trying to survive, trying to, you know, make ends meet. So, the graphic style and the colors, all implemented, really set the setting for this. And I know this isn't technically with the graphics, but I was really surprised to see that there was actually voice acting in this game. Now, I know, like in Wind Waker and other past games, there's been grunts or maybe a word here or there, but no, this game actually has full-fledged voice acting in some of the scenes, and I was really shocked and surprised, but they pulled it off. I really like it. Now, the fact that Link is still not talking, I feel that I feel that was a good choice, because I know a lot of people hate on the whole silent protagonist thing, but here I feel that it's well done. I mean, because yes, you do talk to people, but you're just getting information and stuff, and I don't know. I think it works well for Link. Okay, so now getting into the meat and bones of this, the gameplay, which is something that I always look for in a game. I know graphic and story and all that kind of stuff is important, but to me, gameplay is one of the most important things in a game. And this game strives in that. I absolutely love the gameplay. This has been the most different, or this has been the most different Legend of Zelda game I have ever played. As far as it being open world, it really feels like the original first Legend of Zelda for the NES, because yeah, you were given an objective, you were given a directive kind of, but you had this huge world to explore, and you weren't limited to where you could go. Now, there is a certain point where you are, but it's not of the fact of the game demands that you cannot go here. It's the matter of fact of you're not well enough equipped to go to this area yet. Let's say okay, here's a good example. Ocarina of Time. Go into Death Mountain, you just want to go up there, explore, check out the Gorons, but you can't go up there until the story says you gotta go up there. You have to get a letter from Princess Zelda to show a guard saying, hey, I've got permission to go up here. In Breath of the Wild, you don't need that crap. You can go explore anywhere you want, well, except for the tutorial area, but that's, escape, or getting out of the tutorial area, the Great Plateau, but that's another story. But you can explore all these different areas, and it's not a matter of fact of you can't go there. It's a matter of fact of you might not be well enough equipped. Like some of the high mountains, you actually have to have items to give you cold resistance in order to not freeze to death. The elements actually are at work here, and that's something else that I think is really well done, is that the environment around you actually has a real effect. Like the elements have some real effect here. And like, for an example, like thunderstorms, there's a good chance you could be struck by lightning. So, and also, it's weird to say this, but it has a very big Dark Souls vibe to it, as far as, I wouldn't say difficulty, but just the way the game plays, is that you might not be well enough equipped to fight a certain monster or something, or there might be some really tough monsters that'll take you out in 1 or 2 hits. And it can be frustrating at times, but it's not one of those things that will make me throw down my controller and just say, screw it, I'm done with this game. So, the weapons and shields in this game have a durability meter, and I've seen games that have done this well, such as Dead Island, Dark Cloud's another good example, and it's very different. That's one of the main words that I'm going to use a lot in this review. I'm just going to say that right now, is different. Because you're not just given a simple sword or in a shield just to go explore. You actually have to find your weapons, or find treasure chests, or have people give you weapons, or try to buy weapons that essentially will break. And I like the fact also that you're not just limited to swords. You actually have clubs, you have halberds, you have boomerangs as an actual weapon, not just a side weapon like you would in normal games, or the past Legend of Zelda games. But I like the variety. It's not just a sword, because most Legend of Zelda games, Link for his sword and shield and bow and arrow. But in this one, you have spears, you have halberds, you have all kinds of different weapons you can play with. So it's really fun. Now, they did bring back the stamina meter for this game, and like I said previously, I have not played Skyward Sword, so this is the first time that I have actually been introduced to the stamina system as far as me actually playing a game. And it's very well done. To certain degrees, it's kind of frustrating at some points, because you don't know how much stamina you're going to have to get to climb up a rock, or while you're swimming. But it doesn't feel cheap. It doesn't feel like, oh, I should have had enough stamina to get up there. So, excuse me. It's very well implemented to the game. Now, another new feature that this game has introduced is cooking. And for a lot of people that have played Monster Hunter games, you will feel right at home with this. Because you can cook food, you can get to do different recipes for different effects, whether that's healing, it can give you cold resistance, heat resistance, shock resistance, maybe give you an attack boost, or a defense boost, or a speed up boost. And it doesn't feel like you have to, I mean, there are certain recipes you have to do for certain things, but it doesn't feel like you have to be exact with it. There's plenty of room for experimentation. So far, I have not had a recipe fail that I have tried. I've just experimented with different foods here and there to get different effects. And it doesn't feel like you have to be exact with it. It's very experimental, which is something I like. Now, the way that you get upgrades in this game, as far as heart containers or even a stamina boost, are shrines. And this is something that to a certain degree, I like it, but I don't like it at the same time. And I'll get into that here in a minute. All around the land of Hyrule, there are these shrines, and you have to do certain objectives, like puzzle solving, in order to gain what is known as a sphere. And you collect 4 spheres in order to get either a heart container or a stamina boost. And you can pick whichever one you want. So it's really kind of up to how you want to play. If you want more health for, being stronger, that's cool. If you want more stamina, have at it. And I've been across a few shrines, and there's only one shrine that I've come across so far that I detest, and that is the gyro shrines. I cannot stand these things. I understand what Nintendo is trying to do with this, and it doesn't work for me. I'm sorry, I do not like it. I hate tasks where you have to tilt and all that kind of stuff, puzzles and all that kind of crap, and I don't like it. Now, I haven't gotten into any of the actual temples yet, or as far as the bosses, so I can't really go on forth on that, but I'll go ahead and wrap this up, give you my summary. Like I said at the beginning of my evaluation of this is probably one of the best Legend of Zelda games I've ever played. It really feels like it's going back to its roots, like as far as exploration, like the very first Legend of Zelda game. And something I was meaning to talk about during the first part of the gameplay was it has somewhat of a futuristic effect to it too, because of the Sheikah Slate. And I know a lot of people might be turned off by that, because this is supposed to be in an ancient time where, it's knights and chivalry and all that kind of stuff. But I remember one time that Shigeru Miyamoto said that for one of his Legend of Zelda games, and I can't remember which one it was, it may have been A Link to the Past or Ocarina of Time, that he was actually going to have some of the Triforce pieces be like computer chips, like put in a futuristic setting. And I feel that this pulls it off very well. The Sheikah Slate doesn't feel too gimmicky. It doesn't feel like it's out of place. It feels like it's this ancient technology that the Hylians had, or the Sheikahs had before. And it just kind of doubles as what we would have in modern day, like cameras and like downloaded maps and that kind of stuff. So it doesn't really feel out of place, and it does have a futuristic effect to it that I really enjoy. I would highly recommend this to anybody that is a Legend of Zelda fan. It is very different from any past Legend of Zelda games that I've ever played, but I feel that's a good thing, because there's a show called Sequelitis done by Egoraptor. It hasn't been in a long time, but he did an episode comparing A Link to the Past to Ocarina of Time. And he said something that kind of stuck with me. It feels like ever since A Link to the Past and Ocarina of Time that Legend of Zelda has become very formulaic, like certain things have to happen. And I feel that Breath of the Wild is trying to break that formula to push new bounds for Legend of Zelda players. And it's a very open welcome. Is the game perfect? No. It's far from perfect. There are a couple of things that irritate me here and there, but overall it's a very good game. So I would highly recommend any Legend of Zelda fan or any Nintendo Wii U or Switch player to check out this game. So until next time, guys, this is Murder 15 signing off.